Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter. Today we're checking out room 6237 and honestly I can't wait to show you around and show you the view. It's absolutely gorgeous. Of course, before we get going, just a quick reminder that we are using an external light during this room tour. It helps you see things, especially things that are harder to see in shadow, but it also might make this room feel a little bit brighter than it actually is. So just keep that in mind as we wander around. That said, this room is very well lit, so if that's a concern of yours, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's flip you around, take a look. Now, I don't know about you, but the first thing I notice when I step into this room is just how well themed it is. Now, this isn't over-the-top theming, this isn't a specialty room or anything like that, but it does still feel like we're in French Quarter, which I'm delighted to see, especially with more updated rooms at Walt Disney World feeling a bit sterile. This room absolutely does not. Now, let's start today's tour by looking at the entryway. So here is our door, and you will see that we do have a significant amount of space when we step into this room, which I think is great. It's plenty of space to get yourself ready to go, get yourself out the door with relative ease. If we turn this way, you'll also see a big space here and another door. This does open up into the next room if you want to have two rooms together, which is a great option for families. But if you don't, there's lots of space here for you to put a stroller, ECV, what have you. So very useful no matter what the circumstance. Turning this way into the room, I mean, there's so much detail on the headboards and on the overhead light, at least the lights over the bed, but we'll check that out here in a second. We have to talk about the beds themselves. So we do have two beds in this room, and you will notice that they are elevated. They are that new updated style, so we can put stuff under the bed, which is great. It definitely helps with keeping things feel less cluttered, making these rooms feel bigger than they actually are. Of course, take a look at this headboard. Look how gorgeous. It is just so beautiful. I love the detail. I love how this just feels in this room. Of course, we have some fantastic detail on the light as well. It feels fancy. It feels right, like it fits in this space, which is fantastic. Again, we love to see the theming continued into the rooms, which we're seeing less and less nowadays. So, of course, there's not much to say about the bedding. It's the same bedding that we see at all Disney resorts. Pretty bland, pretty basic, just clean white sheets. But it works in this room, which I think is great. Between the beds, we have a nightstand. On that nightstand, we do have Hey Disney, and if you look, we also have multiple plugs. So we have two outlets here and two USB ports, and then Hey Disney is plugged in under here, so it doesn't take away any of our charging ports, which is great. We do have a phone. We have our drawer where you can tuck some things away, and even more space under here to tuck things away as well. There's also a decent amount of space between the two beds, which I think is great. No matter which bed you're choosing to sleep on, you can definitely get in and out with relative ease. And now I can't really say the same for this side of the bed. There isn't a ton of space here, although I do think that it is manageable. I wish that this frame didn't come out as far, because I do feel like you are really squished up against the frame if you're trying to move in and out of this space, but it's not going to be a problem for everyone, and it's definitely better than some of the other rooms that we've seen. So not too bad, we can manage that, but definitely not what I would describe as accessible, especially if you have some mobility issues. Maybe you're just a little bit clumsy, might want to not sleep on this side of the bed. Of course, we have some beautiful artwork on the wall in that very ornate frame, which I think is lovely. It definitely ties in the theme nicely. There is our panel. This is definitely updated and easy to use. You shouldn't have any problems using that during your stay. Now, Hi. We have our bathroom area. Now this is a moderate resort, so you will notice that the bathroom has a curtain to divide. This is not the case at all moderate resorts. Some of them do have an actual door. Same can be said for some of the value resorts as well. However, the curtain can be nice. It still does do the job. Now, this curtain does move with relative ease. I don't have to struggle at all. And it is quiet, which is nice. That actually keeps the rooms a lot quieter than some of the barn doors will. They can be really loud as they move back and forth. So I do like this, although it's not standard for what we've seen in some of the more updated rooms. Speaking of that, this whole space still has the same configuration that you would expect to see from a moderate in the past. So we just have a shelf here, we have a place to hang clothes, extra pillow and blanket. This does the job just fine. However, we are seeing rooms updated with a bit of cabinetry in here, which I do think helps keep things a bit more organized and a little less cluttered. However, just the feel of this, I don't have the actual measurements, but it feels like this space is a bit smaller than some of the other vanity bathroom spaces that we've seen. That might be why there aren't cabinets in here. I'm not sure, that's my best guess. Nonetheless, I do think that's a bit of a downside. This makes the room feel this much out of date. Just this much. Though it's clear that this room was updated, and in some ways I think that that makes this easier to deal with, because though you don't have the extra space here, you do have it under the bed, for example. Now we do have an iron and an ironing board, as well as plenty of hangers for all of our garments, including regular hangers and pants hangers over here. We also have a safe, and I'm so happy to see that this is an updated safe, so we're not having to keep track of a key. I also love that this is a full-size safe that can hold modern day electronics, so we can definitely fit a laptop in here, multiple even, as well as everything else that you want to keep tucked away. So I'm so happy to see that. We do have trash in here, as well as recycling, and plenty of space over here, as well as on the shelf, to put all of the stuff that you want to keep out of the way. So I'm thinking of suitcases, things that you've purchased, dirty clothes, even a stroller can fit in here, so that's wonderful. For our actual vanity area, we have such amazing lighting. It goes all the way around the mirror, which I think is great. We do have two sinks and this big slab slash shelf up here to put all of our toiletries. We have some outlets and a magnifying mirror. There you are, hello. This is great because it just provides you with a bit more light to do your makeup in the morning. Also, I love that we have a little bit of a kind of nightlight situation if you need it in the middle of the night without having to turn on a bunch of big lights. Speaking of that, we do have a night light here on this outlet. This is a very simple addition that changes everything. I love that. It does stay on, of course, because we're using a light. You can see it right there. It's a little bit hard for that to sense the darkness as I'm trying to show you, but it does stay on all night and it saves a ton of toes. Anyway, here we have the underneath area. Nothing is closed off, so things feel a little bit more cluttered in rooms like this, at least in my opinion, but still places to tuck things away, which I think is great. We do have a hairdryer down there, and that leads us into our bathroom. Now, first and foremost, full-length mirror on the bathroom door, so you can make sure that you are ready for the day. And this bathroom, as you'll see, is kind of small, but again, this is a moderate. We do have smaller rooms in here. Let me close the door. It doesn't feel super tight in here. I think that the lighting helps contribute to that. The light is bright and it is white, and it just makes this space feel a little bit bigger. The same can be said for the curtain rod that does arc out, so the shower feels a little bit bigger than it is All of those things contribute to a more pleasant space here in the bathroom, and I'm happy to see that because these bathrooms do tend to be a bit smaller. Now, of course, we have our towels on racks over here and our toilet. We have a hanger over here as well as one on the back of the bathroom door. And then if we turn this way, we see our shower. Now this shower might be basic, but I think that it's lovely. It's got some classic subway tile. We do have the tub down here with a little bit of a bench. That's what I call it. It's kind of a bench, kind of a shelf. We have our Disney Resorts No Longer H2O wall-mounted products. We also have our clothesline to hang our wet bathing suits and what have you. Look at the detail. It's beautiful, isn't it? These small little touches make all of the difference in my opinion, but you know, again, they're not as valued as they once were, it seems. Although we can still find it here, so that's fantastic. That's why I'm so excited about it. The shower head, by the way, is rather large. I like that. We also have some places to put our shower products, which is great. There are the controls for the shower. Of course, we have to take a look at this shower curtain, which is loosely themed to Princess and the Frog. How cute is this? Super cute. Oh, look! They're kissing! So adorable. All right, let's make our way back out into the room and see what else this room has to offer. So stepping back out of that bathroom area, which is where we just were, you will see that we have a shelf here and some places to hang things like pin lanyards, lounge flies, put our necessities up here as well. I do love that. I also really appreciate that there is a bench here. This is a perfect place to get shoes on and get yourself ready for the day. I don't see any plugs back here. No, but you could of course adjust things a little bit and then park an ECV or a large stroller over here if you needed to. Here we have our dresser. This is a big chunky dresser similar to what we saw over at Port Orleans Riverside, but it doesn't feel like it takes up too much space in this room, with plenty of space to move between the bed and the dresser itself. Of course, since it's big and chunky, we have some big drawers. There are 3 of them here. They look pretty clean, which is nice. By the way, let's take a second and appreciate the detail. Little things make all the difference, right? And then over here, we have our mini fridge, and this is a proper mini fridge. It hasn't been updated into a beverage cooler, which I really appreciate. There was a time when I would comment on the lack of ice maker in here, but I'm just happy to have a full-size mini fridge now. This dresser has so much space up top, which I love, because this means it's the perfect command center for all of your electronics, all of your daily necessities, whatever else that you want to have out and available, you can put it here. And there are plenty of plugs to plug all of it in. We've got 2 plugs and 2 USB over here. Then on this side, we have 2 plugs and 2 USB. This plug, I believe, is going to the television or whatever that is. That's the TV and all that good stuff. And then of course we have our coffee maker, which we will have to plug in over here as well. So we're losing a plug to all of those necessities behind the dresser, but honestly, it's not that big a deal. We do have plenty of plugs on that dresser, and again, plugs over on the nightstand as well. Now on the dresser, we do have our small coffee maker with some Joffrey's coffee and tea and all the things that you might need. We have an ice bucket as well. We've got our remote control and a giant television, which is wonderful. We love having a good sized TV. And if we turn this way, You will see that we have a little seating area as well. Please excuse my bags just hanging out there on the air conditioner. Now right over here we have 2 seats and a table. Of course this room does sleep 4, but don't forget we do have that bench over here that we could slide on over so that everyone could sit down, maybe enjoy a pizza together. We also have an outlet over here, which means that this could be a good spot to plug in an ECV. If you wanted to pull it in, you might have to reconfigure things a little bit, but I think that you could pull that off. We do, of course, have a mirror here as well. And then when we turn this direction, we have our window as well as our air conditioning unit. Now this is an older air conditioning unit. It has a cover on it, which makes it a little bit prettier, but it is loud though. It is ice cold, which I think is fantastic. That's really what counts. And sometimes people really like the white noise, so I'm not complaining about it. I know some people don't like how loud it is. We also have a big space here on top, which is hard. It's like countertop, and that is a good place to stow some things too. But look at this view from this room. It is absolutely gorgeous. I cannot believe that I am at Walt Disney World right now. It looks like we are on the river in New Orleans, and I don't know what else there is to say. It is just so beautiful. And that about does it for this tour of this room, except for one detail that I almost forgot. This ceiling fan, yes, this room has a ceiling fan, and I have to say, it makes all the difference. Having some air movement in these rooms, so nice. But of course I want to know what you guys have to say, so tell us all about it in a comment down below. Just based on our tour today, do you like this room? Do you not like this room? Would you consider staying here? Also, if you have stayed here in the past, tell us what you thought. We always want to hear from you, and we love getting your opinions because they help other people figure out if this might be right for them as well. Of course, this was just a tour, but there's so much more to come. So make sure that you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss our review of this resort or anything else that we've got going on. And yes, there is always something going on here on the channel. But I think that's all for now. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.